something bad to us, we are going to do things to you that have never been done before.
This was a fork in the road of human civilization.
Oh, just love the way this thing kicks me out just as the show closer or opener ends. Somebody's playing funny buggers. Somebody's playing funny buggers. And everything I'd lined up has been dumped. Don't you love that? Just spent half an hour or more shit putting it all in. All right, folks, how are you? Hope you're having a lovely day. Looks like we've got shit internet connection. Let me see what's going on there. You have to give me a minute. I can't talk and think at the same time when it comes to that. Network and internet. That'll be what I'm looking for. Okay, let's try this. And maybe making a difference, maybe not. Maybe not. Okay, we'll see how we go. Looks like I've got a few little things here that I can show you to begin with, so that's a bit of a start. Sorry for the screw-ups. Don't know what's going on. There's weirdness in the machine tonight. Maybe it's because some of the things I've got to tell you. I don't know. Sandy K, God love you, woman. I hope you are doing well. Second night in the road. Hey, listen, speaking of second night in a row, I would like to thank Vince for stepping up last night. He did a brilliant job for his first time ever hosting a show and having to drive everything, the back end of it and that whole thing. And for Tim Dwyer for stepping in and helping him with guests and great ideas. I see through, I've seen some of the show. I haven't seen the whole lot of it yet. But the large part of it that I have seen is bloody great. So first time effort, and I think thumbs up to Vince, who's I don't think with us tonight, because tonight he is out shaking babies and kissing hands at the Manham Club because he's having a meet and greet. He's running for the local council there, and I'm not sure if he's running as a spy or as a councillor, but we'll figure that out as we go along, I'm pretty sure. God love him. I hope he goes well. But thank him so much for stepping up last night. And thank you to everybody who has emailed or texted me or left a message in the chats about Elizabeth. Thank you very much. Her family have been made aware. So thank you for your blessings and your prayers and your thoughts and feelings. I really do appreciate it. Spazza, nice to have you in, brother. And I've got some interesting news for you too. I spoke to my sister, so we'll be catching up, brother. Let me try and figure out when exactly, but I might even give you a call after the show tonight. But I've got a fair bit on happening here at the moment, so we'll just see what goes. Hello to everybody who is in there. Lovely to see you all in. We do have a bit on tonight, so part of what I want to do is read you something that I was part of a WhatsApp group today. I was only part of it until this was actually read or posted in the group. And once this was posted in the group, I'm not completely sure why, I didn't post it, but I was removed as well as the author, or not the author, but the fellow who posted this up. Now, I don't know why that would be the case. And while we're going through this, I'm going to read it. It's not terribly long, but I thought I'd just put some of the old things that you may have seen up on the screen, which I haven't deleted out of here yet. I just put those up so you don't have to look at me doing that the whole time. Me. I'm sorry, I'm a bit raspy at the moment. I don't know why. I don't have the dreaded C, but for some reason or other, I can now go about 14 different octaves lower than normal. Don't ask me why. I don't know. All right, so let's get into this. I found this just a beautiful post, and I want to share it with you. So let's get into it. If you look at it from any perspective, humanity stands at the edge, the teetering point between Superman and animal. Superman, what we call the higher self, soul, or spirit, is part of us that seeks expansion, wisdom, and divinity. The part that reaches for something beyond survival, beyond impulse, beyond imitation. The animal, our primal, reactive nature, it's driven by survival, fear, instinct, and desire. It's not wrong, it's part of us. But if we live only through this lens, we stay in cycles of scarcity, conflict, and reaction. So, the question becomes, are my actions being driven by survival, or am I choosing them from my soul? Am I moving through life reacting, defending, consuming, fearing, like an animal just trying to make it through? Or am I moving through life creating, expanding, transcending, loving, like the higher being I know I am? Because the world is at a tipping point, and so is each of us. Every day, every choice, every moment, we decide which version of ourselves we step into. We will rise into the highest version of who we are meant to be. Or will we stay locked in survival, unaware that we were meant to be much more? This is why self-reflection is so important, because we are not just here to survive. We are here to evolve. I think that is just a magnificent piece, and I wanted to share that with you. And for some reason or other, that got me, and I had nothing to do with it, kicked out of a WhatsApp group today. I can only think that the people who control the WhatsApp group may have less than healthy intentions behind what that group might be doing. Just saying, it's a bit of a weird one. Stranger things have happened, I'm sure, but it's just a bit of a weird one. Speaking of strange things, I'd like to share one strange thing with you. You may or may not have noticed recently, particularly since Canberra last Saturday, there has been a lot of talk about our nation. In fact, I'd like to thank everybody who so far viewed that video. There are, I think just on one side, it's been viewed over 3,500 times. And I'm talking about the grand jury indictment from the Senate courtyard at Old Parliament House last weekend through the corruption whistleblower. Now, a lot of what was said there, a lot of other common law groups have a variety of different strategies and plans in play that do involve First Nations people. They are a very key role. And Lydia Thorpe stood up in Parliament and spoke truth, absolute truth. And in fact, she quotes Uncle Juma, who is head of the Larrakia people in Northern Territory. And he is an elder, basically an elder of the nation. He is the oldest lawman on the nation, as far as I'm aware. And that means something if you're unaware of how it works. However, she's quoting Uncle Juma here. Sadly, I'm not completely sure she understands what she is saying, but have a listen, because I really do believe it's truth.
Man, Uncle Juma of the Larrakia, has served notices that are now in silent acquiescence by Australian corporation, the government, which is a corporation, which we know is registered in the US through a ABN. So this whole parliament, it has an ABN, and the government has an ABN, and it's somewhere overseas. And that's how the Colonial Project does their illegal occupation in this country, basically.
Yep, basically, 100% right. That's exactly how they do it. And all of that information is explained in the evidence brief that Peter and Donna and the corruption whistleblower team have put together, and is available right on the VOFHQ website, as are just about every other document we have spoken about in the last 2 weeks. I received an email from somebody who was clearly having a little bit of trouble finding the fiduciary notices, the fiduciary duty notices. All you need to do is go to vofhq.com and click on the link. I'm not sure, hang on, I might even be able to just go there myself. And I'll post it up in the chat if you are in the chat tonight. But essentially, if you go to vofhq.com, right at the top of the page is the corruption whistleblower logo. Click on that and it will take you through to all the documents. Just keep scrolling down and you will find a list of email addresses. And in the next box under that, and you will find notice of fiduciary duty, example only. You can actually download that and fill in the bits that are in red, and change the name, change the address, that kind of thing. You fill in the bits of red. To download it, you simply right-click it and hit Save As, and save it as a PDF or save it as a Word document, whatever you want. And I will just get the link now and post it into the chat. Done. So to the person who's cute as, I think was the name on the email address, I'm sorry you found it so difficult to find that. In fact, I should have just shared the website with you, but at any rate, in fact, I will. Let me just stop that, present this, do that. There we go. We'll click on there. Right, so I'll just do this very briefly. So that's the link you go to after you get. That's the front page. So if you get to the front page there, I've made it a bit big. Scroll down, you'll see the corruption whistleblower. Click on that. It'll go to another one. Just keep scrolling down, and you'll see that there are these insert boxes. Now, this is the fiduciary duty letter email address list. And if you're wondering why I'm talking about the fiduciary duties email address list and clearly the email document, which is underneath it, all you need to do, as I say, save as and take out the red bits, put your details in there. That is that simple. Now, the lady who couldn't manage that today thought that she was paying for this information, I think. She wanted a refund on the $5 subscription she'd put in, which we gladly give her. And Vince will sort that out in the next 24 hours or so. So, we don't ask you for money for information. And she seemed a bit confused that she needed to pay $5 to get that. That is not the case. I won't hide information from you behind a paywall. You won't ever have to pay for it. Not if I've got free access to it. There is no reason in the world why I would be asking you to pay for it. So, and I believe that this information needs to be available to everybody, regardless of how wealthy or how poor you are. This is human information. This is information for every living man and woman on this realm, let me say, because I know that'll stir some people up. Now, I'm scrolling through the page here, the fiduciary duty letter email address list. Go and download it. In fact, go and download both these documents tonight, folks, because tomorrow night we're going to go through them. Now, I know we've sort of had a bit of a chat prior about these documents, but tomorrow night we will go through this in great detail, and we will explain a case that it is currently being used in. It is a case run by the lady who is in great part responsible for this work. Her name is Ramona, and if you've been watching the show, remotely over the last few weeks, you will have met Mona. She is a wonderful woman. Very, very, very clever lady. Very excitable, and I'm going to try and slow her down tomorrow night so her accent doesn't upset you all too much. She's getting much better at it. We were talking about it the other day, and she's very excited for the opportunity to come on and explain to you what she's doing and how she's working her case at the moment. So she's going to explain her case to you, which you may or may not have got the gist of last time we chatted, and going to go through what the fiduciary duty notice does. And she is going to ask you to help her in her case. You don't have to do anything other than fill in the fiduciary duty notice and send it off to people. Those email addresses would be very, very helpful. So it's a pretty simple ask that she's going to have, but we will explain it all tomorrow night. I think it's going to be a hell of a show because, well, Mona's in the house. And when Mona's in the house, anything is possible. Now then, I want to show you something else that I've come up with today. It seems like the United Australia Party, whose one member, Senator Babbitt, is working overtime at the moment to try and do the best thing for we the people. I can't thank him enough for trying to make the bastards honest. There are not enough of those sorts of people, I don't believe, in the Senate. I'm not even sure that this is going to go the whole way. But Senator Babbitt today has introduced a constitutional alteration or amendment bill for free speech. Now, this is to fly in the face of the hate speech laws that have been rammed through again by the Uni Party, Labor, Liberal, Greens, and the Teals, who've fallen in behind. Of course, One Nation, who would like to think that they have clean hands in all of this, do not have clean hands in all of this. I think Senator Roberts abstained in the vote, and I don't even think Pauline turned up for it. So I don't know if that means that's abstention or just I don't give a shit, but it's certainly a really, really, as they put it, bad visual. Anyway, Senator Babbitt is getting some good visuals out of this.
Senator Babbitt. Thank you.
the other freedoms if people are not free to think?
Okay, so a few people are saying no sound. Have you got the sound back? Because the sound's certainly working here at my end. Not hearing anything? How exceptionally weird. Let me just have a look at my sound settings. Well, it says my microphone is working, and it says everything else appears to be working. Maybe I need to... Right, okay, let me play with that. I think you got the idea. Have you got me back now? Okay, so you can hear me but not the video. Let me just bring this back, see if I fixed it.
And to express those thoughts. Australia, at a national level, we lack entrenched protections for freedom of speech. Our role as elected members should be to provide and sustain that right. This bill will give the Australian people the power to vote in a referendum and determine just how important freedom of speech is to them. I believe that people, if given the chance, will vote overwhelmingly in favour of free speech, because Australians, while we may disagree on many issues, we believe in a fair go. We believe in the right of everyone to voice their opinion without fear or favour. My proposed alteration to the Constitution will protect freedom of expression along similar lines to the First Amendment in the United States Constitution, which provides that Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech or of the press. My bill will put the brakes on efforts to suppress speech that are shockingly becoming more and more common all around the Western world, especially here in Australia. Now, there shouldn't be a single senator in this chamber who would say that they were against freedom of speech. There shouldn't be a single senator in this chamber who would say to their constituents, I want to make it more difficult for you and your family to express your opinions. It's crazy. We came to Canberra not to oppress our constituents, but to defend and to ensure their freedoms forever. And this bill does just that. It is long overdue.
It is exceptionally long overdue. So long overdue that was never put into our Constitution. So it's been overdue for our entire history. We have an assumed freedom of speech because we watch a lot of American television. They have it enshrined. We have no such protection. And in fact, they have just ramped up the level of control again on us all very recently with these hate speech laws brought under the guise of what, mainstream media would have you believe are anti-Semitic attacks. These have not been proven to be anti-Semitic. These have not been proven to be anything. They haven't been proven at all. They are simply allegations made by people who are being fed information. Maybe some of it's true, maybe it's not. And God knows, some of the news that's come out in recent days out of Blacktown Hospital and the Afghani gentleman, and there was another lady there, I think, from Palestine, and what they bragged about doing to a Jewish social media person in an interview from the hospital, mind you, is absolutely disgusting. They were intimating, in fact, admitting that one of them, I think, was gloating that he said, you've no idea how many people he sent to hell, how many Jewish people he sent to hell who have come into that hospital. There are some truly evil people in this world, some not very smart ones, but some very, very smart ones. And we've all got to be alert and aware for those very, very smart ones. They come in all shapes and sizes. They come in all colours and all kind of paints on their skins. So use your discernment is the best I can say to you at this stage. Use your discernment. Have that little intuition radar out as far as you can get. when you're around new people, or even some of those that you would trust. Because in many circumstances, the trouble doesn't come, or the danger doesn't come from someone you don't know. The danger comes from someone you do. And there are going to be some hard times ahead. So we need to stick together. We need to grow our numbers. We need to wake people up. And things like what happened last weekend in Canberra are big steps in moving forward. Same with what Lydia Thorpe had to say. Big steps for her to say those things in the Parliament of Australia. Now, she said it. She lost her rhythm. I think she tried to ad-lib. I think she tried to get off script. So whoever wrote what she was saying for her, she wasn't comfortable reading it that way. Maybe she just wasn't comfortable reading it at all. I don't know. I don't think she fully understood what she was reading. I think she'd like to think she does. But what she was referring to is some documents that Uncle Juma served on the country, you may as well say. Every institution in the country, every government institution in the country. And he called on them to do something under their law, which they didn't do. So that's why it's now been called out in Parliament. And now the Parliament has been explained as a foreign entity that is acting in a fraudulent and criminal manner as a governing authority over a nation of people. That Lydia Thorpe moment, I know she's not renowned for saying smart things in Parliament House, but even if she didn't understand it, that is staggering that she's come out and said it. And it is now, well, let's wait and see what it means going forward. Essentially, it means that every parliamentarian has been put on notice, is what I understand it to be. What sort of notice, and what does that mean? Well, I guess we've got to wait and see that too. You all know my feeling on solutions. The biggest solution that we need is an enforcement arm, in my opinion. And I don't think that we have an enforcement arm yet that is capable of standing up and protecting we the people. However, this is where the fiduciary duty notice comes in. You know, the one I was talking about earlier? Because this fiduciary duty notice, of which, you know, we're going to do one specifically with Mona tomorrow night, and I am thinking, and she would love to do it, so we're just trying to figure out a time and place where we can regularly do it. And we'll probably put this on FBN Media, if I'm honest. We might do some more common law learning if you folks are up for it. You might remember when I started this little shindig many, many moons ago, I was joined every Monday night by a bloke named Fitz. Fitz is a wonderful human being who educated me in the ways of Magna Carta 1215. Not completely, because at episode 31 we had a bit of a breakdown, both of us, and I haven't heard from him since. So I have been lacking common law education. I have been lacking common law friends. I've been making new ones, but Fitz I trusted implicitly, and it's been difficult to find somebody that I would trust to replace him. Mona, I trust. So it won't be Magna Carta law that we're talking. What we will be talking about is the way to fight cases in courts. And if you are interested in doing those sorts of things, or you want to fight in a different manner, then I would suggest that group of shows that we get together, I don't know how long it will go or how many there'll be, but that group of shows will be well worthwhile you being involved in. You should also understand that this kind of learning is deep, long, and hard. You need to get your head around a few things, and you will need a printer. You'll want to print out a lot of this documentation, because there's going to be a lot of things you're going to be asked to fill in and send as part of your learning. So be aware. there's a bit of work ahead. However, the fiduciary duty notice tomorrow night, very easy, very easy. So please download it from vofhq.com and be ready, because tomorrow night, the powerhouse that is Ramona is coming to town, and I can't wait. I love this lady to pieces. She's such a effervescent, bubbling, beautiful ball of life, and yeah, can't wait to have her on. Okay, I did say there was a declass coming. Don't take it from me. You can take it from a Republican who has been appointed the head of the, I think it's Senate, or at least the congressional inquiry into a whole heap of really big assassinations that happened way back when and may still be affecting what happens with us today.
With the stroke of a pen, he committed to declassifying the files concerning the assassinations of President John F. Kennedy, Robert F. Kennedy, and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., a decision not just monumental but pivotal. It is with profound honor that I have been entrusted by Speaker Mike Johnson and Chairman James Comer to lead the House Oversight Task Force on Declassification of Federal Secrets. Together with the help of the White House, our intelligence allies, the Department of Defense, the Department of Justice, we will be conducting investigations into the following: the assassinations of JFK, RFK, and Dr. Martin Luther King, unidentified aerial phenomena, also known as UAPs, unidentified submerged objects, also known as USOs, the Epstein client list, the origins of COVID-19, and the 9/11 files. This task force will be a beacon of bipartisanship. On the Republican side, Representatives Burchett, Boebert, Burleson, Crane, Gill, and Mace will be joining me, although I'd like to note that I'm expanding this to the entire governing body and will be allowing certain members to waive on. Our first hearing is set for March. The date will be announced soon, and we've already initiated close to a dozen communications with various agencies, to include Pam Bondi at the Department of Justice and the Secretary of State. This will no longer be a task force that makes bold promises only to fade into irrelevance or send strongly worded letters. This will be a relentless pursuit of truth and transparency, and we will not stop until the American people have the answers they deserve. We will cut through the bureaucracy, challenge the stonewalling, and ensure that the American people finally get the truth that they have been denied for too long. If we are to endure and thrive as a nation, we must restore trust through transparency. The American people must be trusted to think for themselves, to form their own judgments from the truth that they are entitled to know. We've been treated like children for too long and kept in the dark by those we elected to serve us. It is my solemn duty to begin mending this trust, to form a new relationship between the government and the governed. Let us embark on this journey together towards a government that does not serve, but one that enlightens. That does not just serve, but one that enlightens. Trust through transparency, that begins.
Trust through transparency. And Elon Musk was in the Oval Office today with Trump, answering questions about just that very thing. Some of the American people are going to be totally blown away by the amount of money they are going to get back in their coffers. The things that the US administration, the previous US administration, and I suspect even Donald Trump's previous administration before that, and certainly Obama's before that, most definitely Clinton's before that, and all the way back to the Bushes, if not back to the Reagans, although they were pretty squeaky clean. Things like US aid, my God, how they have rorted that system. They're paying out something like $15 million a year to teach transvestite Venezuelans how to drive. I may not be Venezuelans, don't quote me. That's the kind of stupid thing American taxpayers are being made to pay for, because of the bureaucracy that is in charge of what is one of, if not the world's highest debt. And that's what they're trying to fight their way out of, America. Now, obviously, we've run into some tariff trouble with John Trump. That's to do with our steel exports, our steel and aluminium exports. Now, let's be honest, we don't have much of a steel business anymore, and the imports, or the exports rather, of Australia is a point of a percentage point. We send them, not a lot at all. The problem is we've sent a little bit more than not a lot, only a little bit, but we've been allowed to because, old Wiley Joe must have stuck his thumb up and said it was okay. Or Australians just crept in, and the Americans buying at the other end just slowly upped their order, and the Aussies quite happily filled it without looking at the agreement they'd signed. So Trump's using that as a chip, a bargaining point for something, and he's actually, from what I've heard, I haven't seen it, but I have heard that he's complimented Albo, saying something like he's not a bad bloke. Albo's not a bad bloke. Seriously, let's just have a think about that for a minute. Albo's not a bad bloke. Trump must have died in that helicopter crash. That's got to be a robot or a replacement, and an evil one at that. If he can come out with a statement like, oh, Albo's not a bad bloke. Or is he playing the art of the game? Watch this space. Watch this space, because I'm not completely sure exactly what's going on in the world there. It's all around us, folks. It's all around us.
Hi, are you passionate about supporting independent media and social events? Voice of Freedom is dedicated to bringing you the latest happenings and things that matter. But we can't do it without your help. By donating, sponsoring, or becoming a member, you're not just supporting our mission. You're joining a community that values transparency and engagement. Your contributions allow us to continue producing high-quality content that informs and inspires. Visit VOFHQ.com to make a donation or explore sponsorship or membership opportunities. You can even donate using crypto. Together, we can amplify voices that deserve to be heard as we continue to create a vibrant platform for social change. Go to VOFHQ.com, help us to help you by joining us and making a difference today.
And we could certainly use your help, folks. We could certainly use your help. Thank you, J1. I do need to catch up. There is a lot going on in my life at the moment. There's a lot going on around the property, more than I can tell you about, more than I'm wanting to share. But there is a lot going on in my life. And I haven't been able to spend as much time as I would normally in front of this thing, finding as many things as I would for you folks. So I apologize if you're finding me a bit thin on the ground this week. But trust me, tomorrow night, it'll all be different. I did and had every intention tonight of having Marcel on. Marcel is the guy who has put together the Our Place Australia PMA. And if you haven't already seen I think it's about 20-minute presentation he put together while I was down at the big My Place get-together in December in Victoria. Go back to December on the VOFHQ website or the VOF website you're watching, and you'll find that we have uploaded that video. You'll be able to get a vague idea of, well, no, not a vague, a very detailed idea of what the PMA is and how the OPA, or Our Place Australia system, will work. Now, Marcel is in Gympie tonight. He started his presentation a little over an hour ago, and I was meant to give him a call and try and record something with him earlier this afternoon, but with what is happening in my life at the moment around here, it was very difficult. So he has been doing a tour around, I think it's southeast Queensland. I'm not sure whether or not he's on the Gold Coast this week, potentially Friday, or he's already been, whether he did that the other night. So I will give him a call tomorrow. And if he is on the Gold Coast doing a My Place event this week, folks, I know that there were plans for them to, Darren was meant to be coming as well, for them both to be here. So I'm not sure if Marcel's already done the Gold Coast event yet or not, but I'll endeavour to find out. And regardless, I'll get him on the show at some stage before the end of this week. There's only a couple of days left, so we'll fill it up. And if he is available, we'll get him on to have a bit of a chat about it all. There has been some movement on the AI front, and if we have our doubts about President Trump, whether he's a clone, a bloody android, or a bribed and blackmailed man, and is now in fact making some decisions that look 180 degrees to everything he's been saying for the last, 8+ years, then all Vance needs to do is get some actual proof of that and step up. He can take over the presidency. He was at a conference recently talking about AI. Look at the steel in this man's eyes and listen to his voice as he talks about AI and America.
The Trump administration will ensure that the most powerful AI systems are built in the U.S. with American-designed and manufactured chips. And let me be emphatic about this point. America wants to partner with all of you, and we want to embark on the AI revolution before us with a spirit of openness and collaboration. But to create that kind of trust, we need international regulatory regimes that fosters the creation of AI technology rather than strangles it. And we need our European friends in particular to look to this new frontier with optimism rather than trepidation. The screws on U.S. tech companies with international footprints. Many of our most productive tech companies are forced to deal with the EU's Digital Services Act and the massive regulations it created about taking down content and policing so-called misinformation. And of course, we want to ensure the internet is a safe place, but it is one thing to prevent a predator from preying on a child on the internet, and it is something quite different to prevent a grown man or woman from accessing an opinion that the government thinks is misinformation.
I like the way the man speaks. We do need to protect ourselves against AI, and I would like to think that Australia can develop some of the best people in the world in this regard, but possibly not. Most of our Australian brains in that regard have moved over to Silicon Valley, and we understand what a poisoned bastard of a place that is. So, and I have a good friend who moved over there years ago, and we never heard of him again. Maybe he wasn't a good friend and he just never bothered contacting me again. There is that opportunity, that possibility. We were competitors in a very competitive industry at the time. So, anyway, I thought Vance's speech against AI, or at least against the dangers of AI, was very strong. And the steel in the man's eyes gave me cause to think, if it came down to a vote for president of the USA in 4 years' time, and Vance was standing up, if he can continue that kind of steeliness and doesn't appear to be a shill, then who knows? We might be doing. Okay. How's silver going? Well, it's been up, it's been down, it's been up, it's been down, it's been up, it's been up, it's been up, and then it's gone down a little bit. I can tell you right now, it's sitting at $50.60 an ounce. Gold is sitting at $4,603.92 or $2,891.72 American. Now, I've only giving you the US price right now because there is one amongst us who did make a bet, although there was no money attached to it, that he expected silver to hit $3,000 by the end of January. I did get a message from him the other day saying, bugger, missed that one by that much. However, be pretty confident it will hit it by the end of March. And I've seen it jump pretty significantly in the last few days again. Gold is always a good investment. Ainsley Bullion, the best people I know that you can go and get it from. And they'll do you a deal if you use my name or VOF in the notes section when you're ordering online at ainsleyBullion.com.au, or if you happen to be going in, like I know Paul and Chris and a few others did. Chris, unfortunately, had to go in and sell some today, mate. I understand how that is. I don't got that much left to sell anymore, so the boys in the Ainsley office are seeing me less and less. Speaking of Ainsley too, I will be trying to get Michael from Ainsley Bullion, the CEO, Michael Engerman, on this Saturday for another chat about what's going on with the markets, regardless of what the price is. As you would appreciate, the last week or two, it's just been difficult with various things going on. Last weekend being in Canberra and setting up for the big event in the Senate courtyard slowed things down a bit. All right, folks, I'm going to love you and leave you for tonight. It's been a big few days for me, and my eyes are hanging, if you can't already tell, out of my head. Never a pleasant thing that I like sharing with you, because my eyes are normally one of my strongest features. So is my C-cup, but so is my driving. I avoid the dickheads.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up.
Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life.
It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back.
Does anybody else want to stay?
Let's ride!